Hi everyone, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to make these Oddie plates. And what these are the plates that are fastened to the engine cover and the front bonnet on a Series 1 Europa, because these were closed with quick release fasteners. These are the Oddie fasteners, and these are the plates that were molded into the fiberglass where the fastener would go in. These are the originals, but as you can see they're very rusty, so we need to replace these. You can't get them new anymore. You can get aluminium versions from banks, which essentially look a bit like this, so you get a plate that you still need to cut to size. But I thought I would be able to make these myself. I've gone through a bit of trial and error, but in the end I came up with this, and this is made of aluminium and it fits perfectly into the moldings on the engine cover. So this is what we're going to go with. This is one where I already started, but I still need to cut out the shape. But this is an intermediate stage, and this is what we're going to start with. So this is a 1mm thick aluminium sheet. This is cut a little bit bigger than we need, but it has a use. So I'll start off and show you how we're going to make these. To do this correctly, you need a former and a die. So we have something with the correct inside diameter. This is an old skateboard wheel, and I had to use this because the piece of steel tube that I ordered, which is this one, was a little bit too small on the internal diameter, and this is perfect. And we need a die. This is a ball bearing with the correct internal diameter. So we're going to shape the aluminium sheet using this, but we need to cut this a bit bigger than we actually need, and this is because once we're going to start shaping the center, the edges will start to buckle, and if it's too small you can see that it will start to completely fold over on itself, and you can throw it away. So we're going to mark the center on this approximately like so. Then we're going to put it on top of this. We're going to take our ball bearing and a very big hammer, and then we're going to start off by just pounding on it until we get a nice of an indentation. Then we can have something to start forming from. Afterwards we're going to shape it a little bit more, but I'll show you when we get there. At a certain point you will find that it doesn't matter how much you keep hitting it, it doesn't get any better than this. And what we need to do then is we need to shape the actual hole and stretch the metal a little bit before we can go any further. I'm going to do this with this. This is a metal shaping hammer. It's made out of some sort of nylon, and it won't mar the aluminium. So we're just going to use the same shape. I'm just going to use the point. Stretch it out a little bit further. Now we can go back and use the ball bearing again. To redefine the shape, and I marked on the bearing a line which has to align with the depth of the shape. We still need a few more millimeters, so you can see that if the bearing has completely sunken into the shape, that this line is right above the plate. So we need to do the same with this. So you can see that the plate is starting to come up, so we're just going to use a metal shaping hammer to make this flat again. And then I think we need a little bit more stretching with this hammer. This is the plate that we've now made. You can see a nice shape defined. It's the same as the plate that we already had. Now I'd like to define the edge a bit more. The way we can do that is use this shape. Like so. Now we have a nice outline of the indentation. So this is nice and clean. Now we're going to make another one like this. That way we have all 4 of the pieces made. Then we can start cutting the holes like this for our new fasteners. These are the 3 plates that we made. Some are better than the others, but once it's all trimmed like this, it won't really matter. So what we need to do now is we need to cut the holes in the bottom of these indentations, and the hole has to have a certain shape, something like this, so it's not completely round, but it has flat edges, and that is to mount these. So these are flush fitting locks. So normally it would just have had a quick release fastener, which meant that everyone could go into your luggage compartment or the engine cover. So we need to replace these with these flush fitting locks, so they won't look out of place once it's installed like this. So just have the Oddie plates and the flush fitting locks, and it will look reasonably stock, but would have the function of actually locking them. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the center of all of the plates, and then we're going to make a small hole, and we'll draw out the shape that it needs to be, and then we'll start cutting. So the trick that I use to actually find the top of all of these things is just to take a file and run it across the top. And you see a little mark on the top of the dome. It doesn't really have to be that accurate. See, you have a little indentation, but that doesn't really matter. I'm going to take a marker, and this is one of the original plates that came with the locks, so it already has the correct shape. So we'll put this on, we'll mark out the shape of the hole. And I'm going to mount these all in the same orientation. So I want one of the flat spots pointed towards one of the points, so that the locks will face with the key installed always to the top. On this one it's a bit more difficult because the aluminium has been marred a little bit, so I want to keep nice and clean aluminium alongside the edges. This one doesn't really matter. It's just a rough shape. Like so. Now we're going to start off by drilling a small hole in these, and then we're going to use some small files to shape the holes, or maybe use a carbide bit in my Dremel tool until we have one of these plates. Now we drilled holes in the bottom on all of the plates, and we're just going to use some small files to elongate the hole until we have approximately this shape. So this one has been cut. I've enlarged the hole on this plate. As you can see, it fits nice and snug, and the hole has this oblong shape so that the lock won't twist in its position, and only the centerpiece can turn to lock and unlock it. I didn't use my Dremel, but I used these different shapes of files, so they're very fine and they're perfect for this kind of work. It really removes the aluminium very quickly. So I've nicely shaped this hole to the size of this plate, and then we have the lock which we can fit in. Like this, and it's nice and flush, and it has two locking nuts on the back to keep it in place, and the little plates will be riveted onto the deck lid. So this is 1, 2, now we need to do the last one, and then we can start trimming the triangular shapes. All of the holes have been shaped to match the barrel of the lock. You just need a little bit of sand to get rid of the sharp edges, but that will be for another time. Now we can start off by cutting out the rough shapes of the plates. Now you see I marked these. I'm just going to use some metal snips to cut them out to a rough shape, because all the plates are a little bit different and they need a little bit of trimming to fit the hole in the engine cover or the bonnet. Now we have a shape that's a little bit closer to what we need, but it's still quite rough. Now we can again use our little files to get this closer to where we want it. Using the files you can trim it quite close, and this will be enough for now. Once these two have been trimmed the same as this one, we can take it all to the body, and then we can trim them so that they actually fit the little molding in the fiberglass. And then we can also drill the holes for the rivets. So we'll start trimming these, then we can take it back to make sure they fit. This is the rear decklet, so the engine cover. As you can see, these are the molded in parts for the fastener plates. As you can see, the fiberglass has these moldings in them for the plates. So this is one of the original plates that used to be riveted onto the rear deck lid. So now you can see this is the plate that we made. So I've trimmed this to conform to the molding inside of the deck lid, so we can rivet this in like the original. This is the barrel of one of the locks that I have. Put these in like this. Now we have these flush fitting locks in the original locations, and this will mean that we can lock the front bonnet or the rear deck lid with a key, just for safety. If we want, we can also always replace these with the original type of quick release fasteners, but this is a nice in-between. Only thing that we need to do is to drill the holes, but I'll do that another time so that we can rivet in these plates. We've reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So you can visit my blog to see some more things that I'm working on, or you can subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any of the upcoming videos. And I hope I see you next time. Goodbye.